Good evening, everyone. This is Michael O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for September 1st, 2019, recorded around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hurricane Dorian is still a major Category 5 hurricane with winds up to 185 miles per hour right now. And Dorian is crawling towards the west at about 5 miles per hour, although we have seen a little bit of a southwesterly dip here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The changes with the new advisory package. We have a hurricane warning, and actually we'll go to the public advisory here. We have a storm surge warning from Lantana to the Volusia-Brevard County line, a storm surge watch from the Volusia-Brevard County line to the Flagler-Volusia County line. A hurricane warning has been issued from Jupiter Inlet to the Volusia-Brevard County line, and a hurricane watch has been issued from the Volusia-Brevard County line to the Flagler-Volusia County line. And taking a look at that, so here are our hurricane warnings and storm surge warnings right here, and here's the hurricane and storm surge watch, with tropical storm watch is extending inland now through Lake, Orange, Seminole, and inland Volusia counties. So those are the newest changes to the 5 o'clock advisory regarding watches and warnings. The track cone has shifted a little bit towards the west today, and all of Central Florida remains in that cone of uncertainty through the 3-day period. And although the track guidance continues to show a shift off here, off the Florida coast, the model trends today have been back to the west. And that is not what we want to see going forward. And coupled with that, you can see that the eye here over the last little bit seems to be taking almost a west-southwesterly dip a little bit, and that has implications for some of the remainder of the Bahamian Islands. Again, this came through. This is still 185 miles an hour. It's still a very dangerous Category 5 hurricane, but it crossed through portions of the Avocos Islands here and almost sort of came up like that and is almost dipping a little bit towards the south and west. And this is expected to get somewhere within here over the next few days, over the next day or so. And for portions along the Florida East Coast and even the Florida Peninsula, there could still very well be a landfall as the storm may not turn so quickly. And again, a storm this size and magnitude, it's going to be harder for it to turn further to the north quickly. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but a storm this size and magnitude, it is going to be a little bit harder for there to be that turn like that. Going to the latest update, this is the 6 o'clock. This is the 6 o'clock update. They're now doing advisories and updates on the position, maximum sustained winds, and central pressure about every hour now. And I don't know for how long that's going to continue, but for every hour they're doing it for now. And wind gusts over 220 miles an hour. Let that sink in. That's unprecedented, and that is going to cause extreme destruction in the affected areas for a while. The main thing is it's still moving west, 270 at 5 miles an hour. It has slowed down a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. Will that be the sign for further slowing? We'll have to wait and see. We go to the IR loop. This is the 1 minute loop shot here, and you can almost see that little bit of a west-southwesterly dip here. And we go to the COD meteorology site here, and you can see the outer rain bands of Hurricane Dorian. This is the outer rain bands of Hurricane Dorian coming into the radar view. The core is still well off here, but the rain bands you can start to see rotating around. We actually had a tornado warning earlier here in Florida as part of the rain bands. So significant weather still is affecting the area and will continue to. Conditions will continue to deteriorate across the Florida East Coast and across the Florida Peninsula later into tonight and the day tomorrow. And you can see pretty much almost a certainty that tropical storm force winds will impact portions of the Florida East Coast and the Florida Peninsula and the eastern Florida Peninsula. And again, for that reason, there has been tropical storm watches that were issued for portions of interior Florida Peninsula earlier today. And I do suspect these will get upgraded to hurricane or tropical storm warnings. And depending on how close this gets into Florida, maybe hurricane warnings for portions of the area. So again, a very dangerous situation continues to unfold. We take a look at the 18Z GFS here, and just note that the track forecast was a little bit closer to Florida. It was a little bit closer, and tropical storm force winds extend out about 220 kilometers or about 140 miles. And on this current path, this is in 2 days and 48 hours valid 18Z on September 3rd, and you can see extending out 220 kilometers. That would put the position roughly about right here of tropical storm force winds. So tropical storm force winds would extend out pretty far inland, and hurricane conditions would be almost onshore at this point. Hurricane force winds extend out about 45 miles from the center, and you can see bringing that in, that would certainly be near hurricane conditions along the coast. So the 18Z GFS, for anyone wondering, has also made a shift further towards the west today compared to some of the other models. So a very interesting pattern setting up. Again, where exactly this stalls out, or presumably stalls out, and where it starts that northward turn is going to be very crucial. Again, in the short term, we're going to be continuing to monitor that. However, Hurricane Dorian just does not want to seem to turn that far north and slow that far down currently. We're going to have to watch the continued trends on this, and I will be back here at the 11 o'clock advisory later tonight. Hope you all have a safe rest of your evening, and I will be back at the 11 o'clock update.